All right, today we're diving into one of the most powerful chapters in the Quran, Surah Al-Kahf, which means the cave. Now, this isn't just scripture. You can think of it as a timeless survival guide, packed with incredible stories that get to the heart of life's biggest challenges. So let's see what lessons it has for us. At its core, this entire chapter is wrestling with a question we all have to face. How do we get through the biggest tests life throws at us? And the answer isn't just a simple rulebook. Instead, it's given to us through 4 amazing, unforgettable stories. These stories are built around 4 foundational trials that everyone encounters in some way: the test of your faith, the test of your wealth, the test of your knowledge, and of course, the test of power. We're going to break down each one and see what wisdom they hold for us today. So let's kick things off with a story that gives the chapter its name, The Sleepers in the Cave. This is a story all about a trial of faith. It's about what you do when you have to hold on to your beliefs, even when it feels like the whole world is against you. So picture this. You have a group of young men living in a society where everyone worships idols. But these guys, they just can't do it. They refuse to go along. So facing this huge pressure, they leave the city behind and make a simple, powerful prayer for God's mercy and guidance. And the response they get is, well, it's nothing short of a miracle. To protect them, God causes them to fall into a deep, deep sleep inside a cave. And we're not talking about a weekend nap here. They stay in this state completely shielded from the world for hundreds of years. So when they finally wake up, they think maybe a day has passed. They send one of their friends into town to get some food, and that's when it hits them. Centuries have gone by. Their whole world has changed, and get this, the city is now full of believers. Their reawakening becomes this incredible living proof of God's power. So what's the big lesson here? It's that true, sincere faith is protected by God, often in ways we can never, ever imagine. It's this powerful message about having trust and just hanging in there, even when the odds feel completely impossible. All right, let's move on to the next trial, wealth. This story isn't really about having money, it's about our attitude towards it. And it's told as this brilliant parable of 2 men who have totally different views on the blessings they've been given. On one side, you have a humble, grateful believer. He might not have as much, but he knows where it all comes from: God. And on the other side, you have the owner of these 2 magnificent gardens. He's totally convinced that his success is all him, a product of his own genius, and that his fortune is never going to run out. And this is really where it all goes south for him. He's walking through his property, this paradise on earth, and he boasts to his friend, saying something like, "I don't think this can ever be destroyed, and I don't even believe in a day of judgment." His wealth has literally made him blind. Well, the consequence is immediate and devastating. A disaster strikes overnight and poof, his beautiful gardens are completely wiped out. He's left with absolutely nothing, just wringing his hands in regret, realizing way too late that it was his arrogance that led to his downfall. And this just perfectly illustrates the lesson, doesn't it? Wealth itself isn't the problem. It's our gratitude or lack thereof that's the real test. Being humble and thankful protects what we have, while arrogance just invites disaster. It's such a vital reminder to stay grounded. Okay, story number 3, and this one is a real mind bender. It's a journey that explores the absolute limits of what we as humans can understand. This is the trial of knowledge, and it follows the prophet Musa, that's Moses, as he seeks wisdom from a mysterious wise guide known as Khidr. So, Musa promises to be patient and just observe, but his guide does 3 things that seem completely illogical, even cruel. First, he goes and damages a perfectly good boat that belonged to some poor fishermen. Then, he takes the life of a young boy. And finally, he stops to fix a crumbling wall in a town that was incredibly rude and refused them any hospitality. Musa, understandably, is just baffled and protests every single time. But then, the curtain is pulled back. Khidr explains the hidden wisdom. See, the boat was damaged to save it from a tyrannical king up ahead who was seizing all the good boats. The young boy, he would have grown up to be a terrible person and bring misery to his devout parents. And that wall he fixed, it was protecting a hidden treasure, left for 2 orphans that needed to stay safe until they were old enough to claim it. The lesson here is so profound. It's that our understanding is so limited. What looks like a tragedy or total injustice from our point of view can actually be a hidden act of mercy. This story teaches us humility and the importance of trusting in a bigger plan that we can't always see. And that brings us to our fourth and final story, which tackles what might be the ultimate test of character, the trial of power. Here, we meet an incredible figure named Dhul Qarnayn, who is basically the gold standard for a just and righteous leader. So this man was a great ruler. He was given immense authority, resources, the ability to travel all over the world. But the thing that set him apart was that his power was always guided by justice and a sense of right and wrong. In his travels, he comes across a community of people who are being completely terrorized by these destructive tribes known as Gog and Magog. The people are desperate. They see Dhul Qarnayn's power as their only hope, and they beg him to build some kind of barrier to protect them.
Now, here's the test. The people offer to pay him for his help, but he refuses. He says, basically, what my lord has given me is better than any payment. He uses his own resources, his knowledge, and he gets the people to work with him to build this massive, impenetrable barrier out of iron and molten copper. He empowers them to save themselves.
And this story just lays it out so clearly. True power isn't a tool for you to get rich or famous. It's a responsibility. It's meant to be used to create justice, to protect people who are vulnerable, and to serve others. Dhul Qarnayn is the ultimate model of ethical leadership. So, after walking through these four incredible narratives, what are we supposed to take away from all this? How do these ancient stories actually help us, right here, right now? Let's bring it all home. This chapter basically gives us a roadmap for life's biggest tests. The story of the sleepers in the cave teaches us that if our faith is sincere, it will be protected. The parable of the two gardens is a stark warning that gratitude is what safeguards our blessings, while arrogance leads to ruin. The journey of Musa and Khidr reminds us to have humility and trust that there's a divine wisdom even in things we can't make sense of. And finally, the story of the just ruler Dhul Qarnayn shows us that real power is a trust, meant to be used for service, not for personal gain. When you put them all together, these four stories offer this incredibly practical guide for navigating our lives. They're just as relevant today as they were thousands of years ago. And that really leaves us with one final thing to think about. In whatever trials you might be facing in your own life right now, which one of these timeless lessons speaks the loudest to you?